soul has two aspects: higher self, lower self. The lower self, it develops in its intensity, then you are brought down. Higher self develops, you are rescued. But between higher self and lower self, there is always constant war goes on until there is victory for the higher self. When there is victory for the higher self, we have attained liberation. Purpose of life has been resolved. You saved yourself by yourself. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Adorations to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 6, chapter known as Atma Sanjam Yoga, which broadly implies controlling the self, controlling yourself by yourself. Figure out how to do it. And the focus is on practice of intense meditation. Arjuna had asked, how can mind be brought under control when it works like a wind uncontrolled? And Krishna gave the answer. Abhyasa and Vairagya, these must enter your life. Abhyasa is repeated effort. Repeated effort, repeating what? Adopt principal items of integral yoga and do it day by day. Simple way of saying, start with your japa, meditation, get insight into these, how to do them, do some yoga exercises, and create a plan. Having adopted a plan, in that plan includes satsanga. This whole plan must be clear before your mind. And once you have created a plan that is harmonious, rhythmic, delightful to your mind, you adopt it day by day. Make each of your day delicious. Don't live with a sense that one day I will be going to be very happy because I'm practicing yoga. In 6 months I will get success. But each day is your goal. Make it as perfect as you can. But also understand your mind must have a mature way of looking at things, not childish way. If things don't work out the way you wanted, you are childish, begin to cry, and all the yoga explodes. But look at it in a more mature way. Nothing good that you do can ever be wasted. Positive movement is the remedy for all that is negative. So whether it appears to help you the way you want or not. So with that type of mind, and just like No matter how things are, you want to eat it. You want to eat every day. No one complains. How long can we go on eating it? And thinking about minerals, vitamins, and this and that. When will I be free from all this rubbish? Just as that part never brings conflict in your mind. Why should love of God, prayer, japa, meditation, satsanga, listening to the glory of sages and saints, why should these bring any botheration to your mind? Your mind should feel delightful. How wonderful it is. Not only you are eating laddus in the physical world, eating laddus in your mind. So, keeping that in view, and while doing so, as Abhyasa goes on, Vairagya develops. Things that we are leaning upon with so much sense, you are so helpless, or wanting to have support in different ways. You are supported by your taste, different type of gross habits, gross companies, all this constantly depending upon external, that support begins to diminish. You find yourself, you are like on a tree. You are a bird, but somehow you have not grown your wings yet. And you are on the branch of a tree, and everything is terrible for you. Even a squirrel comes and jumps up and down, and you are threatened. However, as wings develop, strength enters the soul. And no matter how limited, full of transient values may be about the tree, you are not supported by it. You are not supported by the world. That's Vairagya. The world doesn't have to be always with you, giving you a field of enjoyment. Go on eating it, go on listening it, go on touching it, going all types of sense enjoyments. Should the world be always, should the soul be always involved in sense delights? From an advanced point of view, it's senseless. So, and you begin to understand, should you be constantly dependent upon people around you, circumstances, objects, situations? Should there be a life of constant dependence? No. A sense of inner freedom. And that would imply detachment, detaching from all this. Now the idea, how can you detach? Is it reasonable? In fact, it's more than reasonable. Day by day, the best part of your life is when you go to sleep. And when you go to sleep, you are completely detached. Ego that you loved so much, even that ego is thrown away. Time, space, all move away. Why can't you build up that type of intelligence in your mind that looks for absolute freedom from all this support? Also understand that though the ideal is so profound and the world seems to grip you all the time, Now think of another way. Be a swimmer. You are in the world, fine. But don't be devoured by the world. You are in the ocean. Don't sink in it. Learn to swim. And sinking, again, you will say, it's impractical. You have to be in the world, handle so many things. All right, sink in it. But not let your nose go down. Just one point, not the nose down. Don't get suffocated. Always have the buddhi, intellect, bright. So, Abhyasa and Vairagya. And the third point is Ishwara pranidhana, surrender to God. Tapaswadhyaya Ishwara pranidhanani, Raj Yoga says. And Gita has pointed that out by using the term surrendering to God. Tapa relates to physical discipline. Swadhyaya relates to japa and allowing the mind to enjoy study of scriptures, satsanga, so that there is a profounder insight gained about your own inner self. So when there is austerity and a japa type of movement in your mind and surrender to God, along with it, Abhyasa and Vairagya. That becomes the mantra, most powerful method of attaining success in the form of liberation. That's the goal of life. In 37th verse, ayati shraddhayopeto yoga chalita manasa aprapya yoga sansiddhim kagatim Krishna gacchati. One who is unable to control himself despite his faith, one whose mind wanders away from the state of yoga, thus failing to attain yogic perfection. What end does he meet, O Lord? Now try to understand from various angles. Suppose the idea came to your mind that the goal of life's liberation. Let me therefore not allow myself to be just indulgent with all the things around me. Let me renounce. Let me get into severe discipline or moderate discipline, and let me adopt. But immediately your mind begins to question you. Suppose your karma is a big forest. How much of that forest can you clean up? With all your effort and your mental mathematics is very poor. I'm just giving you a more elaborate way of looking at things. But so some people move away from their sadhana because of sanshaya, doubts. Some are obstructed in their sadhana because they fall sick. So many things can happen. This is the world of three tapas. Misery arising from your body, misery created by the people war, politics, and all that from outside, and the misery coming from the heavens, act of God. So therefore, no movement in the world is perfectly secure. But from the point of view of the ego, that is so. But if you understand that the entire world is God's creation, and the soul is His image in your heart, soul and God cannot be separated. Sun and its reflection in the jar, they are always in tune. And reflection in a jar is not a reality in itself. Your soul is not a separate reality. But the separation is created by your mind. And the mind has the possibility of maintaining illusion as well as breaking it. The process of maintaining illusion is the movement towards avidya, ignorance. Breaking illusion is called vidya. Now let me further explain. Suppose you started in a healthy way and you began to progress in your meditation, in your sadhana. But due to certain karmic process, there are people who have been very bright and they die while they are just 30, 20, even whatever age. If that happens, now the mind asks, wouldn't that person have been better if he had not renounced and gone into all this intense austerity? He has lost the pleasures of the world. And goal is not attained. We are neither here nor there. Another way of looking at it, if you are from a little higher rung, a sense of I did all the best sadhana. But if life comes under a distressing challenge, life terminates. Now you have to go into another body. Will you go through again building up all the sadhana that you had to build up already in this life? Will that all be wasted? And you have to begin sadhana again. Losing your sadhana and losing the goal of sadhana. Double aspected loss. Another point, under exceeding distress, your life presents challenging situations that perplex your mind in a profound way. You lose memory. If that has happened, all that you have done, what has happened? You lose your senility. You having practiced a lot of meditation, visited lots of satsanga, will that all be lost? Another big challenge. Movement towards death is not easy. Serious sorrows and sufferings are experienced by the mind. Will the mind sustain its memory of sadhana? All the sadhana you have done, and death demolishes all. I will not elaborate any further. So these are the questions of Arjuna. Kam gatim Krishna gacchati. So if a person has, without attaining the goal, passed away, what happens to him? Tachinno bhaya vibhrashta chinna brahma miva pashnashyati apratishto mahabhavo vimudho brahmana pati. O great armed Krishna, since he has fallen from both the path of karma and that of jnana, there is more extension of that falling from both. Path of karma means if you are doing good karmas, the result will be heavenly enjoyment. And you became imperfect in that path of karma. What will happen to you? Will you go to heaven or will you go to hell? And path of jnana is wisdom. We adopted the practice of listening, reflection, meditation, but didn't come to the state of enlightenment. So if you are fallen from both and has been deluded on the path that leads to Brahman, does such a person, does he not perish like a cloud that has been rent asunder by the wind without any support? Etad me sanshayam Krishna chettum marhasya cheshataha todanyah sanshayasya chettana yupapadyate. This is my doubt, O Krishna. Please rend it asunder, because it's not possible for anyone except you to dispel this doubt. There are several implications. Doubt, known as sanshaya, is a great obstacle in your spiritual movement. And resolving the doubt requires seeking guidance from a spiritual source, a spiritual personality that inspires you. Krishna here is God incarnate. But still he is just a personality, inspiring personality. To Arjuna has not understood Krishna in all his glory. So, in spite of Krishna being constantly with Arjuna had been under a lot of illusions. Simple point, even if you bring yourself to the most enlightened personality in close conjunction, and yet the benefit you receive will depend upon how much you are qualified for it. You can bring yourself to the boast of delicious dishes before you, but how much can you enjoy it will depend upon your appetite. Arjuna had not received these divine inspirations so far. But now he is asking, "Oh Krishna, please rend it asunder." And when that type of hunger enters into your heart, hunger for understanding, having a clearer vision, what should be the goal of your life? And what should be the process of attaining? When that question develops within your heart, the inquiring heart, that's called Atma kripa, your soul is become gracious to you. Because your project is Uddharet Atmanatmanam, Rescue the soul by your own soul. So far, your soul was tumbling your soul into misery. Soul wants to come up, and the soul pushes it. Soul has two aspects: higher self, lower self. The lower self develops in its intensity, then you are brought down. Higher self develops, you are rescued. But between higher self and lower self, there is always constant war goes on until there is victory for the higher self. When there is victory for the higher self, we have attained liberation. Purpose of life has been resolved. You saved yourself by yourself. Great. Atma kripa. The soul has developed touch of divine grace. Once that has developed, you develop aspiration, a taste for satsanga, a need for being uplifted in a spiritual way. If that has come, it's not something simple. Out of thousands of people who are well satisfied with the world, some develop that type of aspiration. Because of many good karmas done in many lives, that enables you to develop that much aspiration. Let me repeat to you about grace. If you have Atma kripa, grace operating within yourself in the form of aspiration, then you are led to Guru. Guru kripa. Someone who can guide you. As you receive Guru kripa, you are further assisted by shastra kripa, grace of scriptures. The Guru initiates you into scriptures. The same Gita, the same Ramayana, same Upanishad that you have been reading in the libraries. Now under Guru's guidance, Gita, just few words of the Gita, they become explosive. They gain a tremendous power. And when that happens, you derive great inspiration from these enlightening scriptures. Scriptures become your great support, great friend. They are not just books. That's called shastra kripa. And all these are different aspects of Ishwara kripa, God's grace. Ultimately, you are led by God's grace to attain liberation. Now, Lord Krishna replies, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Parthanaiveha na mutra vinashastasya vidyate nahi kalyana krit kaschit durgatim tata gacchati. O Arjuna, a yogi is never destroyed, neither in this world nor in the next. O friend, whoever does good does not tread the path of grief. First point, any effort you have made to change for the better, to bring positive changes in your personality, and here I'm not referring to ordinary change, a process of transformation. whatever degree of change you have brought within yourself, it is never lost. Any positive step you have taken towards enriching yourself in a spiritual way, it is never lost. What happens? Prapya punyakritam lokanushitva shashvati sama shuchinam shrimatam gehe Yogabhrashto vijayate. Having fallen from yoga, after death, a yogi enjoys heavenly worlds for everlasting years. And then he is born in the house of those who are pure and prosperous. The statement is all allegorical, because if he is enjoying everlasting years, it would be impossible to do anything further. The idea is first to understand, as you practice yoga, you are in different levels. In the beginning, you are just trying to remove your mala, gross impurities. But while you are removing your mala, your understanding about the purpose is not clear. All that you think that it will give me great joy. I will enjoy bliss of heaven, Swarga. And therefore I should be kind. I should speak sweetly. Therefore I should do acts of charity. And so forth. You become deeply involved in doing good things. But your intellect is not sharp or intuitively clear. If that is so, first point to understand, if you continue doing that, good involvement in good actions suddenly allows you to slip somewhere, slip for the best. Come to a state, let me not hold on to my ego. Let me turn to the higher power and say, what is best for me? Do that to me. A higher trust develops. He knows better than I know. So in the beginning, your ego is leading you on. And you are not going beyond the view of ego. As long as that happens, it's called sakamya movement. Movement in pravritti. Sakamya movement means you will gain lots of good karmas. Along with it, there will be negative karmas. Good karmas predominating, they will begin to give you their fruit. Their fruit is lots of happiness. And that state of intense joy is called a heaven. But happiness that does not give you ultimate resolution to all your problems, but simply delays. It's just like you have entered into a dream, and dream has become so interesting. You don't want to wake up. But no matter how interesting your dream, you have to wake up. Led by good karmas, without resolving the ego problem. Then good karmas stay and they give you their result. In your life, good karmas bring prosperous situations. But after death, the enjoyment the good karma brings is much more intense. That's called Swarga. What is the difference? If intensity of enjoyment comes to you, here again, enjoyment is not real. It's enjoyment in the form of mental illusions. So, for example, you suddenly win a big lottery. A person without much money, and suddenly you have $70 million more. People say, what a wonderful news. That again gives you a kind of thrill that will keep you swimming in that elation. That's a little example of heaven, but people think of heaven. Similar experience comes after death. That experience is million times greater than the intensity of enjoyment that you can have in the physical plane. Why? Because your physical body is not there. Physical body acts like a restrictive valve. If your happiness goes beyond certain, your body gets paralyzed. You can't bear it. So, you are fortunate as long as you are in the physical body. But physical body is not there after death. Now you are being led by subtle karma. And soul is with the mind and with all the desires. And a dream-like experience unfolds based on your good karma. And that experience is unlimited. So the intensity goes so deep that it cannot be described in the terms of ordinary language. And that's what draws the attention of people. People are charmed by that idea. And it is described in the terms of in allegorical language. First type of allegorical language, unending happiness. It's not allegorical. Its intensity is so much. It's another way, it's a kind of a mystical way of describing heavenly experience. It's done in the terms of time. Someone experienced for 1,000 years in heaven. Another one who has done better good karma, he experiences 1,000,000 years. And when he is born in the world, from worldly way, it was only few years past. Intensity of experience being described in the terms of period of time. That confuses people when they study scripture. They study how Uma, the daughter of Himalayas, practiced thousands of years before she married Shiva. But in the married time, she is just young and all that time doesn't show up through her face. I'm just giving you the extension to understand the scriptures use allegorical language. Likewise, if you have done painful karmas, then the path you are following called yatana marga, path of punishment. It comes while you are alive. Suddenly you have a plan and you become frustrated. Trouble comes pouring down from your roof, one after another. Misery doesn't come alone. It has a whole crowd with it. And all that again is your own karma, karmic process. But in spite of all the misery you suffer here, there are karmas that want you to go into bigger pain than all this. That's called hell. Just like with heaven, if you have no body, no nervous system, your experience goes into a deeper plane and very intense. There is nothing to restrict it. Human experience of happiness is restricted. Likewise, pain. If you have pain beyond certain degree, you simply pass out, become unconscious. There is a valve controlling it. After death, that valve is not there until you come back into another body. So therefore, that painful karma puts you into a painful experience that is so intense, that is described in allegorical way, that you are thrown into hell fires, and that fires go on burning day and night. And you remain conscious. This type of description is if you are under ego's guidance. Under the umbrella of ego, you can go heaven or hell. But if you have done good karmas, that has opened a window for God's grace, and a subtle sense has entered your mind. How can I be led by God and not stay with my own mental vision of what I should be? You find surrendering the ego, developing devotion where ego is effaced. That becomes a greater aspiration, greater ideal than anything else. Once that has developed, you are moving away from pravritti to nivritti, from sakamya to niskamya. Karmas that you do, good karmas with ego involved in it, you do the same good karmas now, your sattvic ego is involved in it, with the understanding, let all this bring to me chitta shuddhi, purity of heart. Your whole attention is how can I become internally closer and closer to God. Secondary aspect, yes, see your project successful. And that will happen automatically, more than you can imagine. But your primary focus, coming closer to God. What could be a greater fortune than shaking hands with God? Becoming one with God. So that is, now when you are in that state of moving away from sakamya, there are two types of yogis. Yogi who has come to this state of having lots of heavenly qualities, virtuous karmas that will lead him to heaven. And mind has moved away to moksha, but has not attained moksha. Though the insight has slipped into the mind that all this bhoga is not the goal, and the goal has not been attained. What will happen to that yogi? He is called Yogabhrashta. He would have succeeded if he had time enough to get away from the pull of pravritti, from the pull of these worldly values, and to develop unobstructed flow towards God. That if he had accomplished, he would have attained success. But now, due to some obstacle, he falls. What will happen to him? And this is the description, what will happen to that type of person. Prapya punya kritam lokan ushitva shashvati sama shuchinam srimatam dehe yogabhrashto vijayate. Having fallen from the yoga of after death, the yogi enjoys heavenly worlds for everlasting years. Then he is born in the house of those who are pure and prosperous. Term prosperous. So if you want to be born in a prosperous family and become shining yogis, then that should be your qualification. You should have done a lot of good karmas, but wait, don't get enlightened. Just get a sniff of the idea. Don't complete the movement. Then, in divine plan, you are born in a wonderful family. So prosperous. Buddha is the example. Born in a royal family. Everything is there for him. But the very same things that make ordinary people indulgent and completely sunk in worldliness, the very same prosperity inspired Buddha to develop sensitivity, how to end the misery of the world. And that would be your predicament. Being born in a prosperous family, you begin to develop love of God, and you prosper as King Janaka or whatever. You attain enlightenment. But if you have passed away having turned to niskamya, here again you didn't attain the goal, but you turned sufficiently away from the path of doing good deeds for flourishing in the world, with a little sniff of the transcendent. But now you have more sniff of the transcendent. Now you have full lungs of transcendental vision. But you have not attained it. And you die. Now you will not be born in a very prosperous family with a big display of wealth. Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe. No, verse is this way. 42nd verse. Athva yoginam eva kule bhavati dhimatam etadhi durlabhataram loke janma yadi drisham. Or he may be born in the family of the wise yogis. Such a birth in this world is most difficult to attain. So now this advanced type of people who have good insight into transcendental, they are drawn to family where father, mother, both of them or one of them is highly advanced. Family of the King Janaka, the family of Madalasa, who cradles the child, Shuddhosi, Buddhosi, Niranjanosi. A family where the child listens to glorious scriptures from the parents. So not so much display of wealth, but knowledge enters the mind and the family goes on encouraging the child. The child may be like Nachiketa, who are just a few years old and attained enlightenment. And in that family is characterized by Srimatam, whose mati, understanding is extremely rich. Not wealth type of richness, but the richness in the form of clarity of understanding, richness in the form of Davi Sampat, all divine qualities. In that family you are born. Naturally, you are inspired from the beginning, and that's how your previous life has led you into. And you have no other choice but to become liberated in a spontaneous way. You have inherited it. And with this, I will conclude. Om Shanti Shanti.
Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.